We are live, and as usual, we are needing for you to help grow the classroom. So for those of you who are a teacher's pet and standing by and getting ready to come on, although, we normally come on at 12:05, or that's the time we start, I need for you guys to help grow the classroom. And I've got some exciting news. I got some great exciting news that I'm going to share today. So let me go ahead and get organized here and refresh my screen so that I can get all of you who are on right now, so I can see at least who's watching. I can't see your name, but I can at least see that you are there. I always want to hear where you are from and where you're watching from, maybe how you found out about the classroom. And so let me go ahead and refresh my Facebook, because that way when we're dancing, I don't have to be doing all this stuff. We can be dancing together. So without further ado, fasten your seatbelt. Oh, nope. I know Robert's going to say, you got to hit the record button. So today in the classroom, you got me. You got me. And I want to make sure that you always, always do your part to help grow the classroom by sharing, liking, tagging, texting, and letting them know that today we're going to be talking about the lessons I learned from my little special Claire, my Claire Bear. So fasten your seatbelt, because we're going to learn and grow together. It's time to dance. Here we go.
The Lillian McDermott Show.
We love, we fear, bridges we burn, we make mistakes, then we live and learn. When life gets tough, and it seems like your best ain't good enough. If you're in need of hope, you know where I'll be right here. Right here, and when you need a friend, you can count on me. I'll be right here, waiting for
you. This is the place you can always turn to when you need a friend. The Lillian McDermott Show. To reach out to Lillian, visit her on the web at whenyouneedafriend.com. Now let's all learn together. Here's Lillian McDermott.
Hello, my listening and viewing friend. I am so excited that we get to meet each other on the air in this beautiful, best day ever. And for those of you who are tuning into the classroom, please know I've been waiting for you. If this is the first time that you're joining us, I've been waiting for you. If you've been watching the classroom, I've had some people reach out to me and say, I've been watching you for 2.5 years. I have somebody say 6 years. I am so grateful to you. We need to have more of that. We need to get so many people to learn, because we're just more than one. We're more than just one-sided. We tend to just focus on getting information about one thing and one thing only. But please know, if this is the first time that I've been waiting for you, please know that this is a safe place that you can go to when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide alternative ways to heal, and it is my mission to my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening, as well as my viewing friend, will feel empowered to embrace a new truth and live the life of your dreams. Now, with something's new here with Facebook, that I have to click the chat because I cannot see. I don't know what's going on with Facebook. So if you send a message, and Robert, if I can't see it, go ahead and post it on my panel, because I am not able to see what's happening on Facebook, but I can see what's happening on YouTube. So welcome all of you who are watching today. Today you have me, as I said, I wanted to once a month, at least once a month, I like to kind of like have a chat with you. The things that I've learned, things that happened last month, or things that are currently happening today. And we do this on purpose. It's not that somebody's not coming on. We do it on purpose once a month. And if there is a topic that you would like for me to discuss, I don't know if you know, I'm a certified life coach. I don't know if I bring this into the mix every time that we are together, but I want to be able to focus on things outside of the world, because we are in this world, but we're not of this world. And how do we stay focused? How do we stay focused? Well, just recently, and grounded so that we're not anxious and depressed and worried and obsessing. What do you do when you find yourself like that? Well, as I always say, we're all teachers and we're all students. And right when you think that you cannot possibly learn from a certain scenario or situation, think again. For those of you who've been watching the classroom for a while now, you know that I took a week off so that my daughter can go with her family. She has a little Jacob who's was turning 5 at the time, and they were celebrating in Jamaica with my daughter's husband and her family. And I had suggested that I could watch Claire. This was back in March when we went on vacation for spring break with the kids. And as I'm holding her, I'm like, this is going to change your vacation, because you're breastfeeding. They require a lot of attention. Anytime you want to go, you can't be as spontaneous. And I said, I'll watch her. And she goes, no, I really was thinking that this would be a family thing. And I thought, okay, well, no big deal. By the time I went down and got seated in the pool area, because I left her, I said, I'll meet you downstairs where everybody was. I get a text from her and she said, are you really serious about watching Claire? I mean, she was only 4.5 months. She would be in 4.5 months. And I said, provided that you give me all the breast milk that I need, I will be more than happy to watch it. And of course, my husband, as helpful as he is, although I took 100% responsibility for taking care of her, my husband also did his more than fair share. So this affected him as well. Well, what I learned there was just amazing. Just amazing. It's been a while since I've been taking care 24/7 of a little baby. It's been a long time. My baby is 31. And so that's been how long it's been since I've taken care of 24/7 a little baby, 31 years. And so before I start sharing the things I learned about Claire that really helped me remain grounded and rooted in focusing on what my task was at hand, I want to say that above all, that what gets me grounded is my faith, what keeps me grounded. So I want to start by saying that Jesus is the Lord and Savior of my life. And if that offends you, it's time to move on. Or maybe you can stick around and learn why. Because that is what helps us get grounded, that trust and that faith. And so I just wanted to start with that nothing, any product or any pill or anything that you might want to encounter to help kind of mask whatever is going on in our lives, nothing trumps our faith in God. So I just wanted to start with that because I bring all sorts of modalities or ways to think outside the box in the classroom. And it is for you to discern, because I'd rather you go more natural than do something that is synthetic. I would rather you do something more natural. And what's more natural than the gift that we have from God? So I just wanted to start that truly knowing God, studying his word, obeying, and I'm not talking about the God of the church, I'm talking about the God of the Bible, and knowing where it was translated erroneously and all of that, which I am so grateful with Dr. Lorraine Day because of that. So that is the first thing I want to talk about. So anything else that I talk about, keep in mind that it starts with that faith that I am sharing with you today, proclaiming that. And nowadays, I don't know, it may not be cool to be Christian, but I'm taking a stand for that. Just like I took a stand for health, just like I took a stand for other things in my life. And I wanted to start with that because that is the most important aspect of who I am as a person and an individual. So, as children, there is no experience. There is no having a bad day or things going bad or the worst case scenario. As I was handed my little Claire Bear, as I was handed her in my arms, and I knew that for 7 days I would be providing for everything that she needed, along with my husband, just add that to that equation, that I knew that she was in focus. She relied on everything that she needed. She relied on me. And so that is so important, that she or us, that we have total trust, just like we went through when we studied the Exodus with Dr. Day. For 40 years, God took care of the people, the Israelites, and every single one of them was okay. They didn't have to buy new shoes. They didn't have to buy new clothes. They had food coming down from heaven, all those things. And that was the kind of faith that Claire had for me. That was the kind of faith that she had for her papa. That was so I wanted to say that that's why I'm doing this, because I learned so much about trusting the right one. Because we know that in the Bible it says that the imposter will try to go in through the back door and try to steal the sheep, but the sheep knows the shepherd's voice. And so keeping in mind that when I tell you all this, this is the most important aspect. So trust is the first aspect that I want to share that I learned with Claire. So with Claire only required one thing and one thing only. It was total trust, 100% attention. That was it. 100% attention. That is what she required. And I was happy to give it to her. But I was the right person. If my daughter would have handed this child to a stranger, a satanic worshiper, or some pedophile, that is the wrong person to trust. But she knows where she comes from. She knows the voice of her mom. And she knows that I would do anything to protect my children, my grandchildren, and my great-grandchildren. Because yes, I have great-grandchildren as well. So that was important. She relied on us to provide for 100% of everything she needed. So there's the first thing that I learned, is that trust that the Israelites had when they were in walking towards the promised land, or that journey. So trust. How do you live knowing that everything that you need will be provided at the moment you need it? Those are the promises that we find in the Bible. That's what keeps us grounded. And so if you don't, these are other, and if it's a journey to get you there, but along with that, we have to have total trust, just like Claire had total trust that all of her needs would be provided. All she had to do was make a noise, which is what we do all the time. But outside of, maybe throwing a tantrum once in a while or whatever, she had everything that she needed. And let me tell you, I went back as I was feeding her or, taking care of her. I learned how to have 100% eye contact. 100%. That little girl never stopped looking into my eyes. And I loved looking into her eyes too. And it reminded me of the first time I held my little girl and I looked into her eyes and I understood that love that God has for me. Because if I had so much overwhelming love for my child, I don't know if any of you can relate. I don't know if any of you are posting on Facebook, but I want to hear where you're from, how you heard from the classroom. And I want to thank David. Thank you, David. Thank you for watching from Michigan. And we all love Harry. We all love Harry. So that was one of the things that I was able to just stop and just look into her eyes. And it reminded me of when I would look into my daughter's eyes, my children's eyes, and you see this reflection back at you of yourself because we see in others who we are. And I remember just enjoying that moment with Claire again. It was such a great reminder how much she trusted me. She wasn't saying there, don't drop me, or make sure you wipe me well, or make sure, she never did any of that. She just knew that her needs would be taken care of. And you know what? And I feel so, so sad for those people that didn't have that experience as children. But as adult, it's time to rewrite that program. And we've done lots of classes and my workshop, New Truth series, I am the solution, the I am being God, the solution being the acronym that puts it all together, the God in me. And the next workshop is September 17th. So mark your calendar, 17th, 18th, and 19th. And so that is just absolutely one of the things that I just loved, that how much she trusted in me. And so we have got to, oh yeah, there were the occasional tantrums and the colic pain, but we figured it out. We figured it out. And that brings me to the next lesson that I learned from her, which is to be flexible. I didn't always know what she needed, but we figured it out together. When she would break down and start crying and all the things that she would do, every time we would figure it out. After the breakdown was a breakthrough. And isn't that true in our life, that we might be going through the worst thing that's ever happened to us in our life, but we figure it out. We figure out that after you go through whatever it is that you're going through, it all works out for the greater good. And so being flexible and being able to shift in whatever direction we are to shift in, that was another invaluable. So that flexibility that we need to have, or we get to have, is to go with that flow. I knew that she would require everything from me, and I was more than happy to give it to her. But along the way, she taught me great lessons. I don't know if that makes sense to you. Please let me know if this makes sense to you. Let me know what you think. Then the next thing was forgive. Forgive, because there were times where I couldn't figure out instantly what was going on. And I remember one of the teachers that came in the classroom talked about how a trauma of her childhood distanced herself from her mother. And the story was this: her mother pinned the cloth diaper, but into the baby's side, into her side. And the baby cried and cried, and the mother couldn't figure out why she was crying. She tried everything. But then when she went to change her, she realized the pin was stuck in the baby's side. Talk about trauma. You don't think a child remembers that? They do. That might be an anxiety in your future. That might be something that's happening in your life that you didn't even know about. But it wasn't until they started resolving their issues and they were trying to figure out what was that distancing that she felt towards her mother. And it was the pain that went unresolved for a long time. And the mother just didn't know what to do and didn't know where the pain was coming from. But with Claire, you know, if she was upset or anything like that because maybe I didn't get her milk fast enough or didn't get, change her diaper fast enough or whatever it was as we cleaned the slate. We cleaned the slate, we'd start all over again. There was hardly any need to forgive. And it would be nice that you give the people the benefit of the doubt, or once the argument is over, it's just forgiven and just move on. But if we cannot, it's possibly because we are in our ego. And the ego is edging God out. How do you know you're in your ego? How do you know you're in your ego? Because you're trying to stay comfortable. And let me tell you, I had to get out of my comfort zone with having a little baby in my arms 24/7 and taking care of her because, I want to sleep late or I want to do this. I want to do that. No, it wasn't about me. It was about being there for her. The ego wants you to be right. The ego wants to be in control. The ego wants to look good. I don't want my child to be crying and I don't want anybody to think my child is not minding or whatever. So I have to overcompensate for looking good or saying, oh, I'll watch her, no problem. But then when she comes and texts me and says, my daughter texts me and says, are you really sure that you're going to can you do this? Absolutely not. I'll ignore it or whatever. That's called looking good. I looked good by offering it, but I had no intention of keeping it. That's looking good. How do you know you're in your ego? There's this thing in your gut. There's this thing of discontentment. There's something going on within you that makes you feel that something just ain't right. And when you are in that place, you know you're in your ego. But with Claire, there was no need to forgive. There was no need. It was clean the slate. She's happy again. She's not crying anymore or whatever it was. And then the next lesson, I don't know if that makes sense to you, so let me know if it does. And I will absolutely be, looking at your questions once I finish my 8 or however lessons that I learned from Claire. Be patient. Be patient. That was one of the things that I needed to do. I couldn't always figure out what was going on with her. And that is true in life. Sometimes we don't understand what's going on with her. Maybe she didn't fall asleep fast enough. Maybe, whatever it was, be patient. Romans 8, God works things out for the good of all. We just need to wait and see the final product, the final, whatever the end goal is. Grounding is a part of many things. And yes, walking on Mother Earth. Yes, walking barefoot. We also have grounding products here in the Lillian McDermott radio show classroom in my Shop Now bag, where you can get the grounding products indoors. It's just phenomenal. Anyway, so being patient is very important. And how would your life be if you were more forgiving, more patient, and had more trust and more flexible? What would your life be like today if you could incorporate some of these lessons into your life? Just one of them is enough. Then one of the other lessons that I learned from Claire was rest. When she was tired, she slept. She didn't say, let me send this email, let me text this person, let me watch this mindless TV. She would fall asleep. And rest is very important to us. How many of us burn the candle at both ends? And we're talking restorative sleep too. From the hours of 10 p.m. and 2 a.m., Those are the restorative sleep. That's when you're done with your digestion. You should be done with your digestive process like 2 hours, 3 hours before you go to bed. And between the hours of 10 and 2, that's when the catabolic phase goes into your body. And that's when the organs start detoxifying. They turn on to detoxify. And then the next organ and the next organ and the next. And that's how, but you must be asleep. So if you're burning the candle at both ends, which pretty much I did while Claire was with us, but I knew that this was a temporary thing. Some people go their entire lifetime where they go to bed at 2 o'clock in the morning. By then, you're not detoxifying. Or maybe they're eating till they go to sleep. Again, that is not good, because if your body is digesting, it can't go into catabolic state. And the only hours that your organs turn on and detoxify is between the hours of 10 and 2. Interesting, right? I don't know if you've heard this before, but I hope that these lessons are good for you. Then the next thing I learned from my little Claire Bear is nutrition. Claire didn't want anything other than her mother's milk. That was it. That's all she wanted. And thank you, Brittany, for making sure she had enough milk there from March to May that I had enough milk for her. And if I ran out, there was some formula that she tried on her and she did fine. But I didn't give her French fries. I didn't give her beer. I didn't give her things that her body didn't naturally process. So along with the rest and the patience and all the things, forgiveness and trusting and what's the other one? Being flexible, she knew what her nutrition was. And she knew that's all she wanted. That's all she needed. So figure out what works for your body. For me, we talk about a nutritarian lifestyle, which is mostly vegan, but you don't, in order to be a nutritarian, you don't have to be vegan. I don't push that on anybody, but I love the flexibility. Everybody can participate in this. And especially the people who says, oh, I can't give up my meat, or I can't give up this or that. Between 5 and 10% of those animal products you can have. And so those, to translate with Claire, all she needed was milk. That was her diet. And as we grow up, we add more nutrition into our body by the foods that we add in there. And so that was a great lesson for me to see that once she ate, she was satisfied. She wasn't snacking. She wasn't doing any of that. And so that was just a beautiful thing that I was able to learn and be reminded with Claire. And then curiosity. Curiosity was just out of the park. I loved watching her be curious. Have we forgotten to be curious, or have we started focusing more on being critical? Let me just put it this way. When Claire came, I just wanted to make sure I had whatever I needed for her. I wanted to make sure that, what can I think about? And because she was almost 5 months, I thought maybe a walker would do. So I put the walker together by myself. Robert wasn't in the house. Usually he puts the things together, because I was so excited to introduce her to the walker and seeing her like maybe dash around, because she had such strong legs. And I get this walker, put it together, put her in the walker, and she was this short from touching the ground. So patience again, patience. She'll grow into it. Eventually she'll grow into it. But she was so curious with the music and the little tray that she had. She was so curious and by the first day, she was kind of like tapping at random. By the second day, she was like moving things around and purposely hitting things. And you could tell that each day she was with us, it was like a year's worth of experience. She was curious. She didn't say, I already have my diploma. I know everything. It wasn't like that at all. She was just absolutely putting everything in her mouth, and she just was looking and touching, and the noise and the crunch and the whatever it was that she was exploring, and she was having so much fun. How many times in our life are we presented with something different and new, and we're like, oh, I'm so afraid. I'm afraid. Afraid of what? Afraid of failure or afraid of success? What are you afraid of? But she had no fear. She didn't know any better. When we're that age, we don't know about fear. It isn't until we experience things that dive the fear in us, that pierce us into, we think that these are learning lessons that are there to help us grow, not make us smaller and fearful. Those experiences are there for us so that we can become the next phase of who we're supposed to be. Those experiences are there because we needed to learn them. But if we face them with apprehension and criticism, it's going to be a different experience than if you have curiosity. And boy, did I learn, and Robert learned about curiosity. It was so exciting to see her squeal for joy. How often do we squeal for joy? What's the last time you went, woo, like little children, like they just scream out of the blue because they're so happy? That curiosity is contagious. So if you're feeling depressed and anxious and all those things, just sit with a child for a little bit. Well, return them when they start crying, but just watch them be curious and love. It was just so fun to just watch her. Yes, it was a lot of work, but so worth it. How many times in life achieving your goal is a lot of work, but so worth it every step of the way? And Claire showed up as that. She didn't know it, but I saw it. I saw it in her. And last, when I say have fun and squeal, and many of you right now, and me included, and the world, we're facing uncertain times that we would have never thought how evil can be. And one could say, I'm done having fun. I need to prepare. I need to be serious. I need to make sure that I control everything, tell people that this is what they need to do, whatever it is, and it will steal your joy. But right now, what can we do? What are we able to do? We had, I had Carol Howe with Course in Miracles on Tuesday, and I had Harry Vox yesterday. And by the way, if you're trying to find that particular class session on YouTube, it was taken off. So I'm assuming that Facebook might follow through with that, but I uploaded it to BitChute. It's there. So if you want to watch it, the link is on part 1. And I just started. This is the good news. Harry had told me that I should go on to Odyssey, and I did. And my channel was approved, and we're in the process of transferring all the sessions, all the lessons that we've learned with all the wonderful teachers in the classroom. They're transferring that right now and uploading it to Odyssey. So will that be the end all be all? But please go to that link. I will be posting the link in after we're done with the classroom. Please go to my Odyssey, my brand new Odyssey account. By the way, by this morning, I had 3 subscribers. So thank you for those of you who subscribed. Those 3 of you, I didn't even know I was there, because you have to be approved, and they, I guess, research what you're doing. And so all those classes. So the only one that wasn't on, it was deleted from YouTube unless it was taken first and it's there. But the part 2 with Harry Vox's class, which I suggest you watch, but when you watch it, understand that there is more to what we see. There's the unsight, the things that we cannot see, the things that we don't understand, but God does. You see, Claire didn't know what I was going to do next, but I did. I knew when she had to eat. I knew when I needed to change her diaper. I knew, and so did Robert. And we helped each other out. We tag teamed each other. When one night she was up from 2 to 5 crying because she was in so much pain. Between Robert and I, we ended up putting her in a tub because she had such colic. It was really, really bad colic. And she would calm down and then she would cry again. From 2 o'clock in the morning to 5 o'clock in the morning, she was stiffed. And so we saw that we could put her and give her a bath. And at 5 o'clock in the morning, she had a bath and it calmed her down. I also found out that when she was crying, and there was no reason for her to be crying other than she wanted to be held or whatever. And I was trying to figure out, is this because she wants to be held or maybe she was in really pain? My husband has a bell in his office that he used to ring when I was being loud. And I'd go into the kitchen when his office was off the kitchen. I'd go in there talking really loud. And instead of him saying, can you please talk that loud and get upset with me? I put a bell in his office. So when I heard that bell, I was like Pavlov's dog. I knew, oops, I better go in. I'm talking too loud. I'm interrupting his flow. And so I hit that bell and it just startled her. And it was a distraction. And from that point on, I learned that if I ring that bell and she calms down, then it's nothing really majorly serious. So those are the things, those distractions in life that we have that keep us from focusing on, that's why I'm acting this way. That's why I'm upset. That's why I'm depressed. That's why I'm anxious. Because you can distract that vicious cycle of being focused on yourself. Focused on yourself. Basically, it's what it is. And so, so before I continue on, please, if you have any questions, type a Q and I will read your question. And if I can answer it, I will answer it. If I need to do research, I will do that as well. So because last week, my website was down for 24 hours. The McDermott Holistic Healing Foundation website was also down for more than that because we didn't realize. So thank you guys for making us aware that the site is down or, before we realized that the site was down. So I love all of you that are interactive in the website, whenyounneedafriend.com. So I want to ask you if you would please go to whenyounneedafriend.com, become a subscriber. So that way, where we're going to be, because if one thing is down, maybe the next thing is not down. Maybe the next. So we are set up in Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, BitChute, and now Odyssey. So we have so many different ways that we can stay connected and together, because there may be a time where I won't be able to do this live, and there may be a time where I won't be able to do this. And so I'm not going to focus on that now. This reminds me, but before I tell you what it reminds me of, I'm going to make myself a note because I remember everything. Okay, once I write it. So the reason why I would like for you to subscribe and is you get gifts, like you get my 90-day challenge to self-love ebook. You also get notifications of the classes that we have. You get the audio podcast being sent to your email. If that's not something you want, you can change the settings to just get a weekly blog. That way you know who is in the classroom. Okay, so while you're there, and you're in the homepage, just know that we have sponsors that have helped support the classroom. Sponsors like Keep Me Safe Organics, First Alternative Care Telemedicine, the pharmacy, which the pharmacy doesn't ask for anything, and they give 20% off for people, and they're making things in compounds. They're a compounding pharmacy. 20% off your first order when you say that you are from the Lillian McDermott radio show. But this is Merritt Island. This is Ross Clark in Merritt Island. He is such a wonderful guy. Right Way Health and Wellness. Dr. Jennifer Gramuth is coming on next week, as she always does. And so please support the sponsors as they are supporting, figure out ways how you can support them. I also have a Shop Now bag. These are my affiliate sponsors. My sponsors like Ground Therapy, what I mentioned, you can be grounded inside. Like right now, I'm grounding with my feet are on a grounding pad. And so I am grounded because there's so much technical stuff coming at me while I'm talking to you. So I want to stay grounded that way as well. And then, and not only walking on the beach, but when I can't do that, I'm still grounded indoors, especially for people who live in very cold climates. It's very hard to walk barefoot in the grass. And you also have to be careful if it has pesticides or not, or bomb mines like dogs and whatever animals are there doing their business. We also have Brain Tap that helps you rewrite the program. It's a meditation form of relaxation that uses different frequencies as well. And First Alternative Care Therapy has Avasia, that's microcurrent technology, and then B3 bands that are helping me grow my muscles back again. I'm so excited about that. So check out, and one thing, you can go and get the Book of Revelation DVD. There's 12. It's a set of 12 DVDs with Dr. Lorraine Day. You can also get the online version of that and the online version of the Exodus. So we just started the process of getting the Exodus on DVD, and that's going to take a few weeks to get that done. And then we will start taking your orders, or you can place an order once we put that in there, and you can prepay for your DVD. So there's so many different ways to be connected and help grow the classroom. Another way is you can become an enrolled student. You can donate $1 or $1,000, whatever tithing you want, whether it's your time, your talent, or your treasure. Whatever you can do will help, and we appreciate you in the classroom. So I was talking about, before I went off in my little tangent, about difficult times, the difficult times that many of us understand that could be happening. We're seeing the signs. And the Book of Revelation, if you want to compare and contrast what's happening now with what is said in the Bible, Dr. Lorraine Day has studied the Book of Revelation and current times for 30 years. And let me tell you, she just recently said that I'm not going to say it because I don't want to get, but this will be another conversation that we'll have off the air. But she says that the first sign, the first seal, has been shown. So the most important part, like I said at the beginning, is to get right with God. And so you can get these to help you to start focusing on the Creator who created you. So back in 2017, I was rear-ended. And as a result of it, I experienced pain on my left breast. And it turned out that we didn't know if my implant was ruptured or not. It took me a while to figure out what it was because my body kept speaking to me. And it turned out that I made a decision, along with a lot of research and wonderful teachers that I've had in the classroom, like Dr. Lee Cowden, Dr. Lorraine Day. I made the decision to do an explantation. And for 6 months, I did not know. I had to wait. So there's that patience that we learned from Claire. I had to wait because the waiting list was so long. So I didn't know. And I had to stay focused. I had to stay focused on not letting my brain go down that path of the worst case scenario. I had to stay focused on the now, because now is all we have. When you're anxious, you're focused on the future that hasn't happened. When you're depressed, you're focusing on the past that can't be changed. And last night, I have a small group that I coach. And last night, in preparation for that class, the theme was be kind to yourself. That was the theme for last night's group session. And as I was doing, like, I love music, and I was figuring out this particular, song. Do I really like this one or that one? Or, because first we do a meditation and we do different things to be a part of a 2-hour share and really dive deep into who you are, right? So I ran into this song called Be Kind to Yourself, which very appropriately, it fit in beautifully. And the name of the artist is Andrew Peterson. And I'm also going to put that link so that you can click and listen to it as well. But the link that, as I was writing down, this is the song that I want, this is because I pray during this time. I want to be a vessel by which I do the work of God, not my work, not my will, but the work of God. And as I was writing things down just to take notes, and the next video came on, and it was someone talking. And as I'm writing, I'm going, oh my gosh, I just need to focus and just write what I need to write down, right? And it was the same guy. It was the same guy telling the story of the song. It was his testimony of what his song was about. And basically, deep down inside, he had self-loathing. And he was seeing it in his daughter. And so the song was written for his daughter to help her fall in love with herself, to love herself, just like God loves us. It was a beautiful, and I thought, oh man, I am just going to use the first song I heard and the second one as a backup, because when you hear something, you're just like, experience it. But when you hear it again, and maybe again, you extrapolate things that you were meant to hear. And so Be Kind to Yourself was a testimony. It was a beautiful testimony of that. And in that testimony, I heard these words. He said, self-hatred is another name for self-worship. Self-hatred is another name for self-worship. So if you're focused on yourself and how you're feeling, and I will tell you that when people were talking about my surgery and the surgery, and people knew that I was going to be off for a while, and this was going to completely change my body and completely change everything about me. But the person who implanted is not the same person who explanted. So it's so important that we go back and really look at who we are, what we want, and stay focused. So everybody would say, are you worried about the surgery? Are you worried about the surgery? Are you worried about, I heard, are you worried about the surgery? And frankly, I wasn't focused on the surgery. I was focused on the healing, the not feeling the pain anymore. I was focused on acceptance, accepting my new body and loving my new body just as it is, scars and all. That became my focus. Just like that bell for Claire became my help her focus on, are you really depressed? Are you really anxious? Are you really sad? Are you colicky? Are you this? Are you that? Whatever it was, focus on that. And so with that in mind, it was this morning I was reading John, and it was John 12. It says, this was what Jesus said. Now my soul is troubled. And what shall I say? Father, save me from this hour? No, it was this very reason that I came to this hour. Father, glorify your name. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that a shift on focusing on our pain, our fears, our delusions of what this world is going to be or what it is? Because none of it is real. It's what we perceive of it. None of it is real. And we can be anxious and upset and frustrated. And we have every right to be that way. And I know when things happen in my life that are not what I planned, the best thing is to do is ring that bell, refocus on the one, because this might be the reason why you were brought into this world. This is your moment. How are you going to take that step in courage? And as you know, I always love to quote, we bought a zoo. I bought a zoo. I don't remember anything about the movie other than he was a widow. I don't even know if that's true, but that he bought a zoo. And I remember one quote in this movie, and it was, it only takes 20 seconds of courage to take the first step. It only takes 20 seconds of courage to take the first step. I have 20 seconds. Do you have 20 seconds? Can you muster 20 seconds in courage towards the one, the true one? Claire trusted me, but I trust God. So in me trusting God, she was trusting the one, the right person, but not the true God. That's in her. That was in her. Somewhere along the way, we lose that. We lose that. We need to go back to that. I want to encourage you to be curious, because if you reject God, or you don't believe in God, or you're angry with God, then that's the time to say, stop. I've got to ring that bell and focus on that glorious appearance. And by the way, that scripture verse that I quoted is from John 12, 27, 28. And that was from the NIV version of it. So I wanted to share that I am not ignorant, and I bring a lot of information about what is happening. There's alternative ways to heal. And for some people, God is alternative. Nutrition, healthy eating is alternative. So I want you to focus on the fact that we were perfectly created by our Creator. And instead of being focused on what's going to happen or what could possibly happen, knowing that God works things out for the good of all, not just me, not just you, but for the good of all. And we could be focused on what's happening today or what might happen tomorrow or the next day or in September or in the future. But God will give us exactly what we need when we need it at the moment we need it. And if you believe these promises, you will be equipped with such great tools. Great tools. And I know that Peter denied Jesus 3 times before the cock crowed. Before the cock crew? I don't know. Am I saying that right? I know somebody's going to correct me. Okay. Focus on the fact that he had to go through that in order to realize how easy it is for us to lose our focus. Even Jesus said, if this could pass, but no, this is the moment we were created for. Are we going to have courage, or are we going to, do we really believe in God's promises, or are we going to crumble? And that's why I wanted to proclaim today. I want you all to know that I'm a believer of Jesus Christ. I am a Christian, but one that knows the word of God. and wants to do everything to follow God. And yes, it may be scary and new. It may be different, just like going through the surgery. But when we focus on the end of the story, when we focus on that glorious healing that will happen, that every knee will bow, every tongue confess that Jesus Christ is Lord, then that is the moment we were created for. That will make all the pain, all the tears, all of that worth it. So I know that for some people, this may be Pollyanna. But to me, it is my way. And I want to encourage you to always, always seek the truth, the true shepherd. Yes, we've been compared to sheep, but the voice of the shepherd, the true shepherd, is recognized by the sheep, and the sheep follow the shepherd. Discover who God is. And isn't it amazing that this tiny little baby, beautiful little Claire, reminded me to be grounded and how to be patient and how to be trusting and kind and how to forgive and how to be flexible, how to be patient, rest, have good nutrition, and be curious, have fun. Don't take it all so seriously. Don't mourn the living. Wait until to have those tears, because those tears will be wiped away like that, just like giving birth to a child. And so please remember, there are so many different ways we can stay connected. I hope that this helped. Afterwards, I'm gonna read some of your, so if you're listening on podcast, please remember, you can watch the live class together. Please remember, I'll be right here waiting for you worldwide at whenyounneedafriend.com. This is Lillian McDermott wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever.
The opinions and advice expressed on the Lillian McDermott radio show are intended for the individual callers and guests on the program and are presented to our wider audience solely for general educational purposes. Please act responsibly and consult personally with your own medical, psychological, or nutritional expert before taking any steps to improve your life.
Okay, so I'm not muted, right, Robert? I'm not sure if
You're not muted.
Okay, perfect, because I couldn't see. Okay, thank you so much for watching today. I really appreciate. So this is what I call the teacher's pet corner. So usually if we have a teacher in the classroom, hold on a second. What's going on here? There we go. Let me do something here. I don't know what's happening right now. I hope you can see me.
We can see you just fine.
Okay, thank you. Okay. So typically when I have a teacher, we go back and we answer all your questions with Q, but because it's me today, I wanted to see where you're from. And so this is our little, this doesn't go into the podcast. This is just, it is recorded and it'll be uploaded in BitChute and now Odyssey. And by the way, Odyssey, it's LMRS Classroom. Lillian McDermott Radio Show Classroom. So LMRS Classroom. Because I used to be a radio show and I walked away from radio. Now we're internet and it's worldwide. It's always been worldwide. And so I love the interaction when you guys are watching and you're telling me, if you ask me any questions and I can answer. So I'm reading some of these questions. So Alexander, barefoot walking on Mother Earth not only heals your body, but also brings positive thoughts and creative ideas. Absolutely. And by the way, when you smile or dance, that's why we dance at the beginning of the class, because when you're dancing, you're in the moment. You can't be going, oh, I wonder if I paid my bill or the oven is off. You can't do that. You just can't. So when you want to put yourself and you want to shift, that's what you do. It's whatever that bell is for you. dancing and singing and smiling. When you are like, when I walk on the beach, people must think I'm insane. If I'm going through a difficult moment and I'm processing it, and I call myself a self-cleaning oven, and I'm like getting through that, whatever is the process that I need to go through, when I am smiling and I'm walking to the beach. At first, when I started doing this, there was a teacher in the classroom that taught me this. And you can't have a negative thought. Yeah, it's like you're thinking positive thoughts, or you're thinking or thoughts that are not negative or positive or whatever. Sometimes you can't even think. You're just smiling and you're just experiencing the moment. So that's why, for those of you who are new to the classroom and you're wondering, why do we dance and why do we have that theme song was written for me. And it was after an interview. The person who wrote the song, Courtney, I think that's the name of the guy. I think it's in our all our information when you look at some of our shows, podcasts. I think it's on the tagline there. But that's why we do it, is to get in the moment. When I was doing radio, people would come into the station and they were so nervous, and we would always dance Fireball. So we would dance Fireball. And by the time we were done dancing, they were calm, and the show would start, and I would wait for like the perfect time so that right after they're sitting there catching their breath, they can't be nervous anymore. And then once I ask the question, because our thoughts can change the way we feel, think, and act. So yes, you can walk and you can be creative and all that, but if you have all these thoughts in your head, and by the way, we talk about all these things in the New Truth series, I Am the Solution workshop. The next one is September 17th through the 19th. It's Friday through Sunday. The hours are the same hours that we did before. So it's the 17th through 19th of September. It's not just, maybe it is displayed. I think Robert did change it. So thank you, Robert, about that. And but the thumbnail probably still has the old dates, but just know that we have that coming up. And we talk about how to rewrite this program and fill it with empowering words, especially scripture or promises of God that you need to rely on, especially on these times. We need to remind each other that who is our shepherd, and listen to that voice, not the voice of the deceiver. Okay, so thank you, Set Apart. Thank you, David. Yes, I am on Telegram, 407-373-5959. You will find me on Telegram there. Let's see, and I don't know how to use Telegram other than just texting. And so if some of you want to be on a text just for the Lillian McDermott radio show, I don't know how we do that. So if you know how to do that, that's the way you help grow the classroom. So if you know how to do that, please let me know. And so Set Apart was wondering if you ever studied a different blood types and their origins. I've been studying and wondering why we have different blood types and where they came from. Well, I would say I'm not going to question God and what God created, other than, I have there is the book of the blood type book, and I have glanced through it. I'm an A positive blood type. My husband is, I think, O positive. And there seems to be some O positive theme that everybody that's O positive has to have their meat. But that's what I love about the nutritarian lifestyle, that you can have 5 to 10%, and that gives you your B12s or your omegas or whatever it is. But I focus on a nutritarian lifestyle. I focus on the nutrients. When it comes to the blood types and why God created blood types, I don't know. I would say that maybe someday we can ask God. And by the way, I don't believe God is a he or a she. I believe God is and always has been. So there's no gender to God. So when I say he, it kind of like, oh my gosh, what am I saying that for? But most people understand the terminology he. Okay, Lily. Okay, so Lily is asking me, the present is real, the past, or stating the present is real, the past was real, the future is unreal. Well, the past is real, but it's done. It's done. All you can do is learn from that experience and move on, and be able to really heal that, because that becomes the filter by which you look at everything else in the world. And then thanks for helping us today, and keep up the good work, Len. Thank you, David. That was very sweet of you. Thank you for the acknowledgement. It's very sweet. And I only see one thing on, oh, and it's Ibrahim. Thank you, Bethlehem, Palestine. Thank you so much for watching from Palestine. I love all of you to stay. I love it when I see that wherever you're from, because you know that at least somebody is hearing it. Somebody's hearing it. It might as well be you. I am so grateful that you tuned in today. I am really thrilled every time that we come together and we learn something new. We need to be curious about everything, everything. Be curious. You know, I know this is a phone, and I know more or less how to use this phone, but every day I learn, oh yeah, I can hit this button and look at what happens here. And look, you know, if I was, I know everything, I don't need to, then I wouldn't be working with all the tools that we're given. And I know the phone is not a very good analogy, but I hope you get the gist of it. We need to be open. Just because you have a diploma and you spent hundreds of thousands of dollars in that diploma, it doesn't mean that you know it all. There's another perspective out there. And I hope and I pray that all of you become curious for the voice of the shepherd. Learn the true voice through study and obedience. Because a lot of people say, oh, I believe in God. I believe in God. You know, I love God. But then when something happens, God abandoned me. No, no. We abandon God. It says in the Bible that you cannot be snatched from the hands of God. You can't be snatched, but you can certainly walk away. That's not in there, but this is my interpretation. You can certainly walk away. So I pray that you stay connected, and that if ever there was a time to learn about God, just as a curious student, just learn about it. Just dip your toe, little by little. Come to the classes with Dr. Lorraine Day. And perhaps maybe get the DVD of the Book of Revelation if you really want to see how to compare the Bible and what's happening today. Or how to build stronger trust in God. The Exodus that we just finished, the 100 lessons, 100+ lessons for the Exodus. And you can get that online and pretty soon on DVD. Or you can go to the workshop, and we take everything and we shoot you out of a cannon. So if you're needing some help, or if you want to just tweak things, or if you want to find some peace, or if your life is perfect and you want to make it better, that is the workshop for you. So with that in mind, I will say goodbye to all of you, because I have 12 people that I'm feeding today, and I'm so excited about it. So I will see you guys next week. And remember, I want to encourage you to listen, go to YouTube took out the first part of yesterday's show. Go to BitChute and Odyssey. And if it's not there in Odyssey, I will upload it shortly. So thank you so much for tuning in today. Thank you for allowing me to share about Claire. I wish I could show you. Let me see if I can show you a picture of my little Claire. I will do that real quick, because what grandmother doesn't know how to and I can show you all my grandchildren, but this is the last one that I took care of, and such great. I'll show you the picture with, let me see, albums. Okay. I'll show you the picture of Claire and her. Not impressed with the walker. I don't know if you can see that, but look at those tiny little dangly legs. But that's not the only picture. Look at that. Look at that face. The face that, look at that attitude and everything. So she is just a beautiful child of God, just like you are, just like I am. And I hope you reach out to your father and mother, because we are the heirs of our God. Anyway, we'll see you. Thank you for